We're getting closer to the midterm elections, and Republican lawmakers continue their push in several states to shake up the integrity of what's supposed to be a fair process. The right claims to be focused on making sure that elections are secure and accurate. But if that's the case, why aren't Republicans on Capitol Hill supporting legislation that addresses those very concerns? These efforts to change voting laws in states by Republican leaders started after former President Donald Trump's claims of fraud in the 2020 presidential election, a claim the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency rejected following its investigation. The organization released a statement reading in part, "While we know there are many unfounded claims and opportunities for misinformation about the process of our elections, we can assure you we have the utmost confidence in the security and integrity of our elections. And you should too. When you have questions, turn to elections officials as trusted voices as they administer elections." And since then, the work of the National Election Defense Coalition has grown as it tackles the misinformation spread by people who can significantly influence the election process and shape its infrastructure. This includes the case involving Indiana Secretary of State Connie Lawson, who denied access to public records regarding the reliability and security of voting machines. Former Vermont State Senator Ben Zion Ptashnik is now the president of the National Election Defense Coalition. I have him here with us this evening. Ben, thank you so much for being here with us. Let's start with these efforts in some states led by Republicans. Is this really about securing the process, or is this a clever way to steal upcoming elections following Donald Trump's 2020 loss?
Well, I would say that it basically is an attempt to promulgate a big lie, the lie being that the Democrats stole the last elections, and that in some way elections officials have to save the day by doing something to protect the vote. And what's going on is they're using the big lie as an excuse to basically promulgate election suppression, voter suppression. And they're doing so in about 15, 16 states. In many cases, the courts have struck down their efforts. In many states, they've succeeded. And the primary case right now is Alabama, where the Supreme Court took on the decision. A lower court had decided that there is definitely gerrymandering going on, and the Supreme Court struck down that decision in a 5-4 decision, with all the conservatives, especially the ones that Trump put in, basically voting to say that the voting laws and the gerrymandering in Alabama was legal. And that's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, Alabama, we've been talking about that all week. It is quite unfortunate. We're going to keep our eyes glued to it. I'm curious. I'm always curious in what the right's arguments are. Like, I don't know why I stretch to find at least something sane coming out of, the arguments that they make about why elections might be insecure. Could you share with us some of what they're saying that they need to protect us from?
Well, any election that includes computerized systems could be hacked by someone. NEDC for the last 10 years has been working to get rid of voting machines that don't have a paper trail, because if you're voting on an electronic voting machine and you just hit vote and all the information is just on a chip inside the voting machine, somebody could hack that and you'll never know whether your vote counted as you wished it to be. And so we've been fighting to have paper ballots, whether they're hand-marked paper ballots that people have been using for 50 years, or whether they're machines spitting out a paper ballot that you can go back to and check and hand count, as was in Georgia. So we've been fighting as much as possible to have a record. And that record can be hand counted and checked and double checked. And you can't, a paper record doesn't lie. A voting machine can. So, for example, we fought for 5 years to stop Georgia from using voting machines without a paper ballot. And finally, last year, a judge made them, 2 years ago, a judge made them change their voting machines to ones that had a paper ballot. And so in the 2020 election,
I want to bring back Ben Zion Ptashnik, the president of the National Election Defense Coalition. Ben, you back with us. Thank you for hanging tight. Now, the CISA says that the 2020 presidential election was the most secure in American history. So I just want to put a fine point on this. Why is there this big effort to defend elections when there's actually no evidence of election tampering?
well, it's just a ruse, to be honest with you. There was no problems that anybody found that were more than a couple of people here and there voting twice or voting when they were not legally citizens and should not have voted. But there was no widespread fraud, which is what a lot of people are trying to, infer. It was basically a way to promulgate rules that would disenfranchise minorities. Uh, you know, Setting up a rule in Mississippi, for example, that disenfranchises voters by saying they all have to go to a motor vehicle bureau and get an ID, and then shutting down 60 mobile voting, mobile motor vehicle bureaus. It creates a situation where you have to drive 50 miles in order to register to vote, and that's just one of many suppressions that people are trying to, promulgate. They're just
Let's
trying to
talk
make
more
sure.
about that. Yeah, so, there are concerns that efforts like handing out water to voters standing in long lines could threaten the integrity of elections, which to me just sounds ridiculous. And those lines are longer now, to your point, because the suppression efforts are limiting our access, limiting polling places, limiting the hours that we can vote, etc. Talk about the ways that your organization is making sure the process across the U.S. remains equal for everybody, including giving people in Black and brown communities access to cast their ballots.
Sure. And by the way, our organization was the one that actually distributed water and Mars bars in Georgia, and they passed a law making it a felony for us to do that in the future. We worked with the business community and got businesses to donate. Coca-Cola donated a lot of water. Mars bars donated bars for people waiting online for hours who were hungry. And now, if we do the same thing, I would go to jail. So
Wow.
that's the crazy things they're doing. Now, to answer your question, the situation is such that if we don't get out the vote by everybody getting involved with voter registration, by making sure that there's no handicaps, there's no gerrymandering, the lawyers fight every attempt at gerrymandering, like they just did in North Carolina successfully, like they have in Texas successfully, we will wind up with just 1 or 2% of the people being cut out of the voting, as you've noticed on lines, and that will essentially be a situation where in key swing states where half a percentage point or counties where half a percentage point might be the difference between someone getting into Congress or getting into the U.S. Senate or even the presidency, the Electoral College, that's what these suppression laws are really all about. They're to disenfranchise minorities. And I think that that is abominable. And I think that the excuse that everybody's using is the big lie. My parents are from Poland. They spent World War II in Nazi concentration camps because Hitler conveniently used the Jews as the scapegoat for what happened in World War I to Germany when they lost. He basically told everybody, we didn't lose the war, but the liberal and socialist politicians and Jews stole the election from us. This is exactly the same playbook that is being followed by Trump. And by the way, much of what Hitler did in Nazi Germany was based on his studying of what the United States was doing with the Jim Crow laws and the disenfranchisement of blacks. Hitler wanted to know, why is it that America was looked at as such a great country when it was blatantly disenfranchising and stealing and the right to vote from black people, And he said, we got to use those tactics, but we use the Jews. The Jews were a minority in Europe. My parents lived on the wrong side of the tracks. Jews were
Wow.
second-class citizens all over Eastern Europe and Germany and Russia and many places. They were not allowed to vote. They were not allowed in the university. It was like being in Alabama and being black if you were a Jew.
Mm,
And what they did
mm.
was they used the Jews as a convenient reason to blame socialists and Democrats, and by Democrats I mean people who believed in democracy, for having stolen the war and cheated Germany out of a victory in World War One. And he kept saying this over and over again without any proof, and people believed it. And eventually, he was able to put people in
And that
concentration
feels
camps.
so familiar.
Yeah.
So familiar, exactly what Donald Trump is doing here, and really inciting violence and a complete coup against the government and certainly against black people. Ben Zion Ptashnik, thank you so much for being here, president of the National Election Defense Coalition. Appreciate your insights.